What up, everybody? So before I go to bed, I had a weird thought about how about friendships really, and how a lot of times when we're younger, we typically go to make friendships with people who are very charismatic, who have a lot of energy and are very charming. But a lot of times, people who are very charismatic and charming, when you need them most, or when you think that you're their friend, and maybe you're in a vulnerable place, sometimes the charming and charismatic person isn't around or stick around, right? And sometimes the people who last the longest in your life, the people who are very consistent and who've been friends with us since we were little, those people aren't necessarily the most charismatic people, but they're the most ride or die, right? They're with you, and they don't have a lot. Sometimes some of these people don't have a lot of like big energy, but they show up for you when you need them the most, and they'll drive you to the airport and stuff like that. And they got me thinking about how a lot of us miss these valuable, consistent people in our lives because we're chasing people who sell us on a good first impression, and people who maybe uh, are good during parties and stuff like that. But we pass up on the people who are reliable, right? And I can sense it sometimes within myself where I'm talking to somebody and I'll feel good with somebody who's charismatic, right? But a lot of times I've noticed that the charismatic people aren't the people who I've the like out of everybody I talk to on a regular basis, whether it's in friend groups or like the gym or something like that, or school or work, I've always gotten the most, I guess, consistent connection from people who weren't necessarily the most um, charismatic, but rather were just normal energy, just very, friendships that take time to develop, and just casual acquaintances turn into something a little bit more nice over time, right? They have simple hobbies and stuff like that, and they come together for you to talk to them, and it's not always a big energy, right? And I think a lot of people just want to make friends, but for some reason, charismatic people tend to dominate that a lot easier than other people. But I have to train myself to kind of see past big energy, charismatic energy all the time, and see the value in everyday, day to day, non